This 1962 Gretsch Double Anniversary guitar, very cool guitar, and it came into my shop because it was unplayable. It looks like somebody took a hacksaw to the nut slots to maybe lower the action. Not a good idea, but they left them huge and so deep that the strings are rattling inside the slot and rattling against the frets, and you just can't play a guitar when the nut is like that. Rather than replace the nut, which means cutting through the finish and cutting a new bone nut and slotting it and then repairing the finish where it might have been chipped out, we're going to repair the nut slots themselves. So where are we with the repair of this nut? Well, first I cleaned up the nut to get rid of some of the staining and the chips, and I got a file into each of these nut slots to roughen them up, and then I used naphtha to clean everything, to degrease, get any oils from fingers and playing in the ears off of the area. Then I masked it off, and I've taken a component of the mineral natron called sodium bicarbonate, and I've put that sodium bicarbonate into each of these slots. Actually, you're very familiar with sodium bicarbonate, most likely, because it's better known in our kitchens as baking soda. But it is a mineral. In its natural state, it's a crystal. And there's something really cool about sodium bicarbonate when you put it in a nut slot. And you take a little bit of very, very thin Ca, or cyanoacrylate. It goes back to its crystal state and pretty much turns into bone. I'm going to build that up over the next few minutes, and what we'll end up with is nut slots that are filled with crystallized sodium bicarbonate that's as hard as the bone. Okay, so the nut's been repaired. I filled in all the deep grooves that were the original nut slots. Then I marked each string location, compensated for string thickness along the nut. Then I measured the top of each fret here, and that tells me how high the fret is. Then I had a couple thousandths, and that tells me how deep the nut slots need to be. So in this case it was 0.038 thousandths of an inch. And then I took my feeler gauges and combined enough of the feeler gauges to give me 0.38 thousandths of an inch, and I've put it on the fretboard here to protect the fretboard, but it also is radiused along the fretboard the way I've got it attached. And then when my file, hear that raspy? When I hear that, it tells me that the slot's deep enough, and then I go on to the next one. So now the next step is to take out my individual nut slot files that are sized for the individual string gauges that'll be on this guitar, and finish off these slots, and then proceed to polishing up and finishing the nut to make it look halfway decent.